Welcome to LoveBugBookClub. Hi everybody, it's Johanna and Leeanne.
And today we're going to read a book called Good Night, Baby Flurry Heart. Good Night, Baby Flurry Heart by Michael Vogel, illustrated by Amy Meberson. Once upon a time in the magical land of Equestria, two princesses stood high in a tower. Princess Celestia used her magic to lower the sun, while her sister, Princess Luna, used her magic to raise the moon. This let the ponies across the land know it was time to sleep. In the Crystal Empire, the crystal ponies saw the night sky and thanked Luna. Every pony was ready to get some good rest. Well, almost every pony. The royal baby, Princess Flurry Heart, was wide awake. In fact, Princess Cadence and Shining Armor's daughter was not interested in going to sleep at all. Shining Armor was at his wit's end. Telling soldiers what to do was way easier than telling his daughter to go to sleep. He tried her favorite stuffed animal. He tried singing a lullaby. He even tried silly tricks, but nothing worked. Flurry Heart just would not go to sleep. Shining Armor had one last idea. He would tell Flurry Heart a bedtime story. One that's exciting and daring and filled with adventure, he thought. He tucked Flurry Heart into her crib and started his story the way all good bedtime stories start. Once upon a time, there lived a brave and daring young unicorn who traveled all across Equestria in search of adventure. Though he battled timber wolves and crocodiles, he craved even more excitement. One day the unicorn was traveling through the mysterious Everfree forest when he came across a giant beanstalk that grew high into the sky. "Aha," said the unicorn. "I bet there's a truly epic adventure at the top of this beanstalk. I'm going to climb it." And so he did. When he reached the top, he found a castle far too big for a regular-sized pony. The unicorn watched as a giant pony peered out a window at Equestria far below. "Soon I will climb down my beanstalk and steal the land from all the little ponies. I will take their gems and force them to make me dinner," said the giant pony. The unicorn needed to save Equestria, but before he could attack, the giant sniffed the air and bellowed, Sweetie, what are you doing?" Shining Armor turned to see Princess Cadence in Flurry Heart's nursery. "I'm telling our daughter an exciting bedtime story filled with adventure to get her to fall asleep," he announced proudly. Cadence looked down at their baby, who was staring wide-eyed at her father. "I love you, sweetheart, but you don't know the first thing about a good bedtime story for a baby princess." "You think you can do better?" Shining Armor asked. "I was Princess Twilight's full sitter. I told your sister more bedtime stories than I can count. Step aside and let a pro show you how it's done." Flurry Heart's bedtime story should be sweet and delightful and musical. She tucked Flurry Heart into her crib and started her story the way all good bedtime stories start. Once upon a time, there was a young alicorn princess who lived near the magical Everfree forest. Every pony loved her because she had a beautiful singing voice and brought joy wherever she went. One day she wandered deep into the forest and lost her way. But before she could get too scared, 7 cute little dragons came out of the shadows and asked if she was okay. The princess explained that she needed to find her way back to her castle. The dragons were happy to help, but they asked if the princess would sing for them first. And so she did. The dragons were so happy that she had taken the time to sing for them, they gave her all the gems they were planning to eat for dinner. She said she couldn't possibly take them, but the dragons... "A pro, huh? You might want to take a look at your daughter, foal sitter extraordinaire." Cadence stopped her story and turned to see what Shining Armor was talking about. Baby Flurry Heart wasn't in her crib. She had teleported across the bedroom and was sitting in the corner playing with her toys. "You may have been good at telling Twily bedtime stories," Shining Armor said, "but our daughter felt your story was a little dull." Your story had timberwolves and crocodiles, Cadence retorted. It would have kept her up all night. That's no way to get her to go to sleep. Shining Armor sighed. Well, if my exciting story doesn't work and your sweet story doesn't work, how are we going to persuade Flurry Heart to go to sleep? Cadence had an idea. What if we try both? You mean a delightful adventure? Shining Armor asked. Something exciting and musical, replied Cadence. They grinned at each other. Daring and sweet, they said at the same time. And so Cadence and Shining Armor both took Flurry Heart in, and this time they both began the story the way all good bedtime stories start. Once upon a time, a dashing and daring unicorn was traveling through the mystical and mysterious Everfree Forest in search of adventure when he was stopped by 7 little dragons. Their friend, a beautiful alicorn princess, had been pony-napped by a giant pony. He had heard her singing, locked her in a cage in his castle, and forced her to sing only for him. The unicorn agreed to help the dragons. They took him through the forest to a clearing where a giant beanstalk grew high into the sky. They told him he would have to climb it to find the princess. And so he did. The unicorn climbed until he reached the giant pony's castle. He sneaked inside and found the princess. She was singing a sad, sad song. He told her not to worry. He was there to rescue her. The princess was thrilled and told him that the giant kept the key to her cage on a chain around his neck. That night the unicorn waited for the giant to fall asleep. Then he very carefully slipped the key off the giant's neck and used it to free the princess. They were about to escape when the giant woke up. "B5 phony baloney! You took my key, you little pony!" "Don't worry," said the princess. "I have an idea. We just need to—" "Shh! Honey, look!" Shining Armor and Cadence looked into the crib. Princess Flurry Heart was fast asleep. Cadence slowly covered Flurry Heart with a blanket. Shining Armor carefully arranged her favorite toys around her. They both quietly backed out of the bedroom, and Shining Armor gently shut the door. Shining Armor turned to see Cadence looking at him. "Well?" she asked. "Well, what? We got Flurry Heart to go to sleep." "But we didn't finish the story," Cadence said, smiling. "What happened to the unicorn and the princess?" Shining Armor grinned. "Well, I think the princess was about to reveal her brilliant plan to save them both from the giant." "Yes," agreed Cadence, "and I think the unicorn was going to do something very brave to get them safely back down the beanstalk." "Definitely, and I'm pretty sure they fell in love." "Then what?" asked Princess Cadence. "How does the story end?" "The same way every good story ends, of course. They all lived happily ever after. The end." Thanks for sharing a story with us. We'll see you next time.
Please like and subscribe.